Hello, I'm Michael, and this is Tarot by the Tree. We are still in the series of talking about the minor arcana, the four suits from Ace to King. That is almost like our present day set of playing cards.
Hello.
We're going to look today, we'll start with the idea as a bit of a recap. What is swords? What are swords? It's power. We've noticed that it's not exactly strength. A lot of the time, that's more of the internal use of power. And that when we say power, we're usually talking about external power, a power that is not fully dependent on others, but it can affect others. The second thing we'll look at is the number 6. And that is what we're talking about today, the 6 of Swords. All the 6s lie on the 6th sephira of the Tree of Life, or the Tree of Knowledge. That sephira is Tiferet. It is the realm of beauty. And in the tarot cards, it's the realm of love. In the Tree of Life, Tiferet is represented by the lovers. It's a kind of shared love. It's partnership, mutual dependence, and a synergy, which means more than the sum of their parts. The other card that represents Tiferet on the other tree is the star. The star takes us from the mutual duality of love into that single spirit, which is the highest form of love, which is giving without any pretense and no hope of reward. That's the sephira that we're in, the realm of beauty, and as far as tarot cards go, the aspect of love. I wanted to make the note that each card in the tarot deck is an archetype. It is one life scenario that might relate to you in some way. These were very studied, and I think they knew a lot about psychology when the tarot cards were designed. Even though all the cards are meant to be separate archetypes, so far the suit of Swords is telling one possible story. And I'll present this. I just don't want to have the misconception. This does not mean that if you identify with the 5 of Swords, that you will then experience the reality of the 6 of Swords. This isn't a necessary progression. So the story we're going to tell is interesting, but each card is independent. Still, it is interesting, and it's a good way to learn the cards if a story is attached to them. After all, this system of Tarot by the Tree is based on the 2 Fools' journeys, and that teaches every card of the major arcana. This understanding doesn't rely on memorization. It relies on the understanding of a story. And so, with that in mind, let's review the swords so far, and we will see one possible story emerge. We begin with the Ace of Swords. The beginning of something in your life seems to become maximized, and you're maybe at first a little surprised that this area of your life you own more than you used to. It is an aspect of power developing in you. As power develops, you gain some authority in an area. And as we said, If everybody could agree, they wouldn't need you to make a decision, but because of your power and your authority, the choice or decision is yours to make. And you do. But as we said, not everybody's in agreement. So some people are not pleased with your decision and you experience sorrow because of power applied. There may be a loss of affection that you had taken for granted. From there, we've moved into the fours, which is sort of the idea of keeping your power out of sight. Don't become a bully or a braggart. That's not what power should be expressed as. But after that, we enter the five, where it was just too irresistible. You had this power and you had to express it, and you attracted another kind of power. And in this contest, you were overpowered. You didn't lose your power, but in this arena, you were overpowered. You were defeated. Those are the first five cards, and that brings us to card number 6. And essentially, this card means you must relocate for your loved ones, partially because of your use of power. I'll describe the card. A man poles a small boat across a river. He still has all his power, or he has regained it. In the boat are two figures, a cloaked figure and a child, presumably his wife and son or daughter. Interestingly, the waters behind them are rough, but ahead the river is calm. Trees grow on the distant hills ahead. The meaning of this card, remembering that we are in the realm of the lover and the star, and this will be where many interpretations are going to miss the mark. You can see on the card, it is a card of relocation. It does not look like a card of joy, and it is in the aspect of power. But what is motivating him? Well, Joss and I were talking yesterday, and she mentioned embarrassment. Perhaps in the losing of the contest, he finds a degree of ridicule that makes it different. Shame, Joss is saying too. Yeah, and it makes it not the best place for him to live with his wife and child. But we're in the realm of the lover and the star. And although power may have been the source of the move, the motivation for the move has to do with love between two people and the other kind of full love that involves doing something for someone with no hope of return. We can see that because of his use of power, the family is moving to a new place and a fresh start. This is not a celebration. At the moment, they feel defeated despite the power they still have. And also, despite any amount of sadness right now, this is not a sad card or a bad card. This is a card about the ability to make choices, ability to be strong, and the ability to ultimately have power over yourself. In the lovers, it is the bond with his wife in the star, giving fully for no selfish reasons in the interest of his child and in the interest of the relationship. If somebody pulled this card and was describing them in a reading, I think I'd say something like this. In some arena of your life, you found the ability to have power over others. At some time in your life, you attacked or challenged someone. A contest of sorts ensued, and you were defeated. You may not have seen it that way at first. You may have felt tricked or robbed, but you were defeated. For the sake of all involved, and this isn't just your own ego, this is for everybody, it is better that you relocate in some manner. There is some good news. Despite the trouble, your considerable power now allows you to be mobile, it allows you to protect others, and it allows you to succeed alone. This is a good card. You weren't stuck there. It's seeing power as a safety net as opposed to as a weapon. If things don't work out here, I can always go somewhere else and succeed there. Without a degree of power, that might not have been a possibility. With sufficient power, you don't have to be attached to people or places. All right, talking about the Six of Swords, a place of transition, and we call this just go. And it may be the person on the boat is saying, we're just going to go. And there may be an aspect of the people he's leaving behind saying, just go. We'll turn now to some of the questions. Jocelyn.
Are they being forced to flee?
No, this is a choice. This is a voluntary use of their power. They could have toughed it out and stayed, but they just felt it was a wiser use of energy and a greater potential to go somewhere else.
Is the mother unhappy?
That would be fair to say. She is sad. She's disappointed, maybe a bit in her husband. She's frustrated, maybe a bit with her husband. And she's suffering great loss. It was not her misuse of power that caused this move. She understands it's necessary and she will rebuild her life, but she's leaving behind friends and family and whatever she has built up.
Is the pole he's using symbolic of a staff?
I think so. And very much this is a card of future plans. And I think that's why the Waite and Smith didn't put a paddle or oars in this.
Is the child sad?
I don't know, but I think the child is off on an adventure. I think he probably doesn't understand the full gravity of the situation, but he or she will adapt and have fun, hopefully.
Why are the waters more wavy behind them? You touched on it a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting touch that they put into it. I think there's several meanings. One, what's behind them provides the current that pushes them ahead. The other is that it may be difficult to go back because behind them are rough waters. It's difficult to travel the way they've come, but up ahead, the waters are smooth.
Why are all the swords standing in the bow of the boat?
All the swords are there symbolically. They could be other places, but this is using his power as a shield. And again, we're talking protection of his family. He is going to a new place. He is not using his power to challenge anybody. He's using it in its more proper form, which is self-defense. And although it doesn't appear that any harm is going to come to him or his family, he's starting to understand that power doesn't need to be offensive.
Is this a card of defeat?
Not a bit. If he was, as we know, defeated in this card, he might have been forced to stay there, but with less reputation, less honor amongst his peers. That would be ultimate defeat. But it's not. Because of his power, he has choices. He has mobility. He has independence. This is a card of being able to do what you need to do when you have to do it, and have a choice.
A channel of mine uh, writes, the Six of Swords shows harmony or the golden mean in the figure's ability to navigate from distress or excess or stagnation, deficiency, toward a measured, thoughtful course of action.
Wow, yeah. We have to write that down, Joss. That was very good, and I can't remember everything, but that is the note of celebration in this card, that he's making a healthy transition and maintaining his power, maybe even growing his power. That was very well worded.
How is this a happy or good card?
Um, I think I've touched on it a few times. It's the ability to not be destroyed just because you are defeated. The defeat is a battle and not the war.
Final thoughts.
Oh, okay. Without power, they would have no choice but to be just whittled down and disrespected. Power gives them dignity. Uh, my final thoughts are this: there is always somebody more powerful than we are. Advertising power will attract these people. Power is best used as a last resort and not something that defines you. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon with the Seven of Swords.